The same number keeps finding you. Not across one afternoon, not across one rough week, across every surface of your life, at every hour, in ways that do not add up. Not luck, not selective memory, not anxiety making you see things. This has already been happening. You just did not have the words for it yet. And something shifted the moment you noticed. You're not the same person you were before you started paying attention. Welcome. If this is your first time here, this channel is where we follow the science of strange experiences, the ones you feel before you can explain them. Subscribe before we go any further, because every week we go deeper into the patterns most people feel but never fully understand. And I want you to have every one of these. Today I have 7 signs that the same number is doing something far more specific. Stay until sign number 5. That is the one most people find impossible to explain away. And sign number 7 changes the way you see every number you have ever noticed. Sign number 1. The number did not start appearing everywhere. It started appearing the moment something in your life stopped feeling stable. You know the feeling. The kind where you wake up and the ceiling feels like a question you cannot answer. Where you go through the motions, but something underneath is pulling at you, asking you to look at it directly. Most people assume the number showed up because something outside them changed. It did not. It started because your attention changed. Aaron Kay at Duke University studied what happens to the brain when life becomes unpredictable. When a usual structure disappears, the relationship, the job, the version of yourself you recognize, the brain does not go quiet. It searches. It reaches for order. It starts finding patterns in places it never looked before. What this means for you is this. The number did not find you by accident. Your brain went looking for it because something in your life needed anchoring. The search began before you were conscious of it. That is not weakness. That is your mind trying to protect you. Sign number 2. The moment it became uncanny was not the first time you saw it. It was the 3rd or 4th time in a single day across systems that should have nothing to do with you. You checked the time, 11:11. Then the coffee receipt came back at $11.11. Then the queue ticket was 111. And you stood there with a feeling that had no name, something between a dropped elevator and a hand on your shoulder. Most people assume that is too specific to be coincidence. Actually, the opposite is the argument worth understanding. It is not the number that connects them. It is your awareness that connects them. Arnold Zwicky at Stanford studied what he called the Baader-Meinhof phenomenon, the experience where something you have just noticed suddenly appears everywhere. Once something enters conscious awareness, the brain begins flagging every instance of it with a kind of urgency it did not have before. The number was always appearing. Your brain simply began treating it as signal instead of noise. What this means for you is this. The visceral feeling, the drop in the stomach, the tightness in the chest. It is your nervous system registering a collision between what you expected and what you found. That collision is information. It is worth examining. The number was not sent to you, but the feeling it produced in you, that is entirely yours. But what comes next is the pattern most people never identify. And it changes what the number is actually telling you. Sign number 3. The number keeps appearing during the exact moments your life is asking you to decide something. Not the easy decisions, not what to eat or where to go. The real ones. The ones where you already know the answer and you are delaying because the answer costs something. Most people assume the number is confirming what they want to do. It is not. It is not permission. It is a mirror. Michael Shermer, one of the world's foremost researchers on how humans build belief, describes the brain as a pattern-finding machine operating at all times, what he calls patternicity. The brain evolved to find meaningful signals in noise because throughout human history, missing a real pattern was more dangerous than seeing a false one. So it leans toward connection. It prefers intention over randomness. It builds a narrative around what it finds. What this means for you is this. When a number appears in a moment of decision, it is not answering the question. It is flagging the fact that the question exists. Your brain already knows the choice you're circling. The number is simply the moment the knowledge surfaced. You already knew. The number just made you stop pretending you did not. Sign number 4. This one is uncomfortable. The number is not following you during your best days. Think about it. Think about when it first started. Not in weeks, when everything felt aligned and you were moving forward with clarity. It began during the searching, during the waiting, during the season where you did not know what came next, and the uncertainty was quiet and constant and heavy. Most people assume the number is a sign things are about to improve. That is partly true, but only partly. Carl Jung spent decades studying what he called synchronicity outer events that feel connected to inner experiences through meaning rather than physical cause. His finding was specific. The significance is not in the event itself. The significance is in the relationship between your inner state and what you observe. What this means for you is this. The reason the number appears during instability is because instability makes you present. Pain makes you pay attention in a way that comfort never does. You are more aware, more searching, more open to receiving information when something feels wrong than when everything feels easy. The number does not mean things are about to change. It means you are finally awake enough to change them. And that is not even the part that changes things. What comes next is the one researchers did not expect to find. Sign number 5. The number is not giving you instructions. It is reflecting back something you already know. Here is where most people go wrong. They wait for the number to tell them what to do. They watch for 444 before decision. They treat 111 like a green light. They give the number power that belongs entirely to. Most people assume the number is external guidance. It is not. It is not a message. It is a mirror. Deepak Chopra describes a concept drawn from ancient philosophy called Indra's net, the idea that everything reflects everything else. The observer is never separate from what they are observing. What you see in the world is partially created by the lens through which you see it. You and the number are not separate events. The noticing is the event. What this means for you is this. When you see the number, the useful question is never what is this. The useful question is what was I just thinking about before I looked up? What was the feeling in my body in the moment before this? Because the meaning is there. In you, not in the number. The number is the bell. You are the cathedral. But what comes next is the sign most people find hardest to explain away. Because this one does not just happen around you. This one happens through you. Sign number 6. I want to speak directly to someone watching this. You had a moment. Not a dramatic one. Not a cinematic collapse. Just a quiet moment where something ended or something failed to begin the way you expected, and you sat with the weight of it alone. Maybe it was a loss. Maybe it was a relationship that dissolved slowly until one day you realized the person across from you was a stranger. Maybe it was a version of your future that you had been quietly building in your mind for years, and then one ordinary day you understood it was not going to happen. Maybe it was recent. Maybe it was years ago, but you know the moment I'm talking about. And after that moment, the numbers started appearing. Most people assume that is coincidence arranged cruelly by timing. It is not. Marcus Aurelius wrote something that has followed serious thinkers for nearly 2,000 years. He said, look within. Within is the fountain of good. External events provide the raw material. Meaning is constructed entirely from inside. I'm not going to tell you that moment was nothing. I'm not going to tell you the number erases it or explains it or wraps it into something that makes the grief smaller. That is not what this is. What I'm going to tell you is this. The fact that your mind reached for meaning in the middle of that darkness is not a flaw. It is one of the most specifically human things you can do. You are not deluded. You are not weak. You were a person who needed something to hold on to, and your mind built one. You were right to pay attention. You are not wrong to feel it. Sign number 7. This is the final one, and I need you to stay with it. The number is not special because of what it is. It is special because of what you were when you finally saw it. Think about the person who sees 777 everywhere during a job search and takes it as confirmation they are on the right path. Or to the woman going through a divorce who photographs every 222 she finds, who journals it, who uses it as a thin thread of reassurance through the chaos of a life being dismantled, or the traveler who books a flight on the 7, sits in seat 7, flies on a 777, lands at gate 7, and checks into room 707 and stands in the elevator feeling like the universe arranged it personally. Most people assume those experiences are either genuinely miraculous or completely meaningless. Neither is accurate. It is not miracle. It is not noise. It is information about you. What all of those people share is not the number. It is the state they were in when the pattern became visible. Searching, open, present in a way that ordinary life does not usually do. When you strip away the question of whether the universe is sending signal, what remains is this. The people who notice repeating numbers are people in motion, transitioning, paying attention in a way that most people in comfortable, predictable lives simply are not. The strongest line in all of the research on this topic is not about pattern recognition or confirmation bias or synchronicity. It is simpler than any of that. The same number was not following you everywhere. It appeared the moment you started looking for direction. That is the shift. That is the thing worth holding. You are not being guided toward a destination. You are waking up to the fact that you needed one. The number is not the sign. You noticing the number is the sign. And if you have been waiting for permission to take the thing seriously, the grief, the transition, the question you have been circling for months, consider this. Not because the universe arranged the digits, because you are paying the kind of attention that only comes from caring deeply about where you are. Tell me in the comments. What was happening in your life when a number first appeared? What was the sign? I read every one. Before you scroll, think about the one pattern you have been pretending not to see. Not the obvious one, the real one. Drop just one word in the comments.